The new Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings trailer is upon us, and it is action-packed. There is so much going on there, I do not even know where to start. So we figured it might be best to help you get up to speed with a facts list where we fill you in on some of the important relationships in Shang Chi's life, his family, and his origins. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Just who is Shang Chi and what makes him so powerful and so awesome? We aim to answer some of these questions and more as we count down the top 10 Shang-Chi facts you need to know and give you some insight on this character. Let's get into it. Number 10. FANG FOOM? FANG FOOM is a villain, or perhaps an ally, who we believe will be appearing in the film based on a merch leak from Funko that gave us a first look at a dragon character referred to only as the Great Protector. FANG FOOM doesn't have a strong connection to Shang-Chi in the comics, but in the film, he might have a strong connection to Shang-Chi's family, with him being presented as the son of the Mandarin in the film. The Mandarin actually stole the 10 rings in the comics from FANG FOOM, who it's later revealed is an alien plotting to invade Earth. In the comics, FANG FOOM has been both a reluctant friend and foe to the heroes throughout his history. We're just hoping that if he does appear in the Shang-Chi film, that he sports his iconic purple briefs that he was likely made to wear by the Comics Code Authority back in the day. I'm just assuming. Number 9, his coloring. While there are so many great things to talk about with Shang-Chi, there are also some problematic points that we have to acknowledge from his past. One of the really problematic things when we talk about comic book history is just that. The history, the stuff that came before. Comics have been around since the 1930s, and as such, when we look back, there are a lot of characterizations and designs that are just, well, stereotypical, outdated, and not only that, but racist. Shang-Chi's coloring is one of those historical and original elements of his character that was just that, racist. Which is also one of the reasons there were a lot of conflicting emotions when Shang-Chi was announced as one of the next Marvel heroes. People were obviously excited for representation, but nervous because of Shang-Chi's original appearance and to some extent his characterization. Fortunately, the comics have come a long way since his first appearance in the 70s, and have gotten rid of Shang-Chi's yellow or golden skin coloring since then. But while celebrating the character and how far we've come with representation, it's always very important to look back so that we can learn from our mistakes, be more diligent moving forwards, as we continue to work towards promoting equality, diversity, and inclusion, both in the comics and in the MCU. Number 8, Simu Liu. In the film, Shang-Chi will be played by Toronto-based and LA-based Canadian actor Simu Liu. Yay! You know that I am excited about this. Simu Liu rose to fame after his appearance on the television show Kim's Convenience. And in case you are a fan and were wondering, there is actually a real Kim's Convenience that is used for exterior shots. The name was changed from Mimi Variety just for this purpose. Mimi Variety is a convenience store that has been around for 30 years prior to the show and is located downtown on Queen East and is now officially renamed Kim's Convenience. Pretty cool stuff. Simu Liu is not only a talented actor, but also is trained in martial arts himself. And from the portions of the fights that we saw from the trailer, his experience already shines through. Liu has also been on Marvel since 2014 about wanting to see more representation in their film franchise. He actually tweeted at them back in 2014, "Hey Marvel, great job with Captain America and Thor, now how about an Asian American hero?" And by 2019, he was actually amazed to find himself cast as such in the role of Shang-Chi for this upcoming film. I seriously cannot wait to see his performance. Number 7, his brothers. Shang-Chi has a lot of siblings, or well, at least half-siblings? In total, he has 4 sisters and 4 brothers, most of whom only share the same father and one of whom is adopted. Moving Shadow is one of his half-brothers sharing the same father. Moving Shadow was raised to be his father's heir after Shang-Chi left. Their father hoped he would replace Shang-Chi, and Moving Shadow was actually sent to assassinate his half-brother, but failed and was punished by their father, who killed him. You're gonna see a pattern following this one that's coming up here, by the way. Brother Staff is another half-brother who was sent to and raised in the house of the Deadly Staff in London, England. There's like a whole story featuring him and other siblings who were raised similarly in the 2020 Shang-Chi limited series. Check it out. Takeshi is another one of those siblings raised to become Brother Saber at the House of the Deadly Saber in Japan. And finally, there is Nai, who is kind of like Thanos' Gamora. And Nai was the only one to survive an attack orchestrated by Shang-Chi's father and was adopted by him and raised alongside Shang-Chi. The two became best friends, and after Shang-Chi Shang-Chi left, Nye, also known by the moniker Midnight Sun, was sent to find him. Number 6. His sisters. There is Sister Hammer Zhengxi Hao, his younger sister who shares the same mother and father. Sister Hammer got her name from growing up in the house of the Deadly Hammer in Russia after she was sent away while Shang-Chi was led to believe that she had been executed as punishment for going into their father's secret lab with him. There is Zhen Baoyu, initially introduced as Fa Lo Sui, sometimes known as Cursed Lotus, and who is his half-sister, and his other half-sisters Kuai Far and Sister Dagger. Sister Dagger, like Sister Hammer, was sent away and grew up in the house of the Deadly Dagger in France. I'm also just gonna apologize if I'm saying any of these names wrong. I'm trying really hard to say them right, and I feel like I'm failing. But I'm trying really hard, so if there are any pronunciations that I mess up, please let me know in the comments, and I will try to do better for you next time, I promise. Always trying to improve on my pronunciations. Number 5. His father. In the comics, Shang-Chi's father is none other than villain Zhang Zu, originally known as Fu Manchu. The problem with Fu Manchu is that he is very much considered a racist stereotype, and so because of this, when Shang-Chi's film was first announced, there was kind of a public outcry about that. People were concerned, and not even as much concerned about Shang-Chi, who, as we talked about earlier, also kind of has problems, but about his ties to Fu Manchu. The MCU attempted to reassure people that this would be a modernized retelling of the story, and now the MCU version of the character is no longer the son of villain Fu Manchu, but he is still the son of a prominent Marvel villain, the real Mandarin. Finally, we're getting a real Mandarin. And even better, Shang-Chi will be the one in line to take over his legacy. Of course, it seems like there will be conflict over this issue between father and son once Shang-Chi learns more about the world and his father's place in it. Number 4. His mother. While we know a lot about both versions of his father, we don't know as much about his mother, but I find some of the mystery of her story pretty interesting, and I'm intrigued to see if his mother will be more fleshed out in the movie and play more of an active role, perhaps in the story. Initially in the comics, his mother is an American woman who shares that she was chosen over all others in the world to become Fu Manchu's baby mama, and possibly his bride? That part's never really clarified, although she admits she knew how evil her consort was and could never come to love him. There definitely seems to have been some kind of attraction there, and she ultimately did it so that her children would become kings. This unnamed mother had 2 children by Fu Manchu, a son, Shang-Chi, and a daughter who currently goes by the alias Sister Hammer, who we talked about earlier, and who was introduced in the 2020 Shang-Chi limited series. It'll be interesting to see how the character of Shang-Chi's mother is integrated into the movie, if she appears in the film at all, although I definitely think she's going to appear. We saw like a little, what looked like a little shrine to her in the trailer, and yeah, I think she's going to be a key part in some way. Although obviously I think she's going to be different from how she appears in the comics, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. Hopefully she gets a name. That would be nice. Number 3. First appearance. Shang-Chi made his first appearance in Special Marvel Edition number 15 in 1973. There he was introduced as the Master of Kung Fu and son of Fu Manchu. As we said earlier, this aspect of the character is being changed for the film, but a lot of the story seems to ring true to what we know roughly of this plot, namely that Shang-Chi wants out of the empire he is about to inherit. In this version of his origin story, we learn that Shang-Chi was a loyal and brilliant son, his intellect was sharp, and his fists were fast. His father sent him on a mission to assassinate a longtime enemy who was about to die of old age. Unwilling to let his enemy pass peacefully, Shang-Chi was sent to London to kill him. This was Shang-Chi's first time ever outside his home, though. He had actually been raised in isolation basically for 19 years. After venturing out and completing this task, Shang-Chi learns the truth about his father and how evil he is. Having never known this his whole life, he realizes it conflicts with everything that he has learned in regards to right and wrong as a scholar and as a student of philosophy. Because of this, he decides to leave his father and give up his inheritance. Fu Manchu accepts his son's request, but swears that all of his ire will be directed towards assuring Shang-Chi's doom in the future. Comic book collectors might find it interesting that when the film was first announced, this first appearance of Shang-Chi in mint condition was estimated to be about $50 or $100 in price if you were trying to pick it up, and now it's actually skyrocketed to between $1,000 and $4,000 in price. the power of the MCU. So this is a valuable first appearance. Number 2, Master of Kung Fu. We're not just talking about the series here, which obviously features Shang Chi, but his capability as well. Shang Chi is a master martial artist, has displayed a great sense of control and power by channeling his chi, is adept at using various weapons, has the ability to sense people spiritually, even when the person is hidden or cycloaked, is super fast, super strong, and super durable. He shows great discipline when it comes to his body and how he can use it, and his father in the comics has claimed before that he created Shang-Chi to be the perfect weapon. And that he is. Not only that, but he also has insane control when it comes to what he can endure. He has great control over his nervous system, which allows him to ignore pain in certain circumstances and allows him to become acclimated to extreme temperatures. Shang-Chi is not only insanely skilled and strong, but also exhibits the very definition of mind over matter. He must do some insane breathing exercises, I'm just saying. I love that he's also like an athlete, but he's also like very wise as well. Like, there's so many cool elements to Shang-Chi. The Legend of Shang-Chi and Shang-Chi 2020. If we're talking about recent series for you to get into prior to the film's release, for those new to Shang-Chi and who are wondering where to begin, why not start off with some of the most recent books? We have a one-shot from 2021 and the 2020 limited series. As I said earlier, the 2020 series introduces some of Shang-Chi's newly retconned siblings, who all seem pretty cool, to be honest. Both of these also provide a great access point for people who are not familiar with the character, but who are looking for somewhere recent to start. What are some of your favorite Shang-Chi moments from the comics? What are you hoping to see in the movie? What other aspects of Shang-Chi would you like to learn about more before the movie comes out? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight, reminding you, as always, to stay nerdy, YouTube.